Question: what have you done lately to improve or to increase your value to the marketplace? What fundamentals and daily rituals are you practicing?
Welcome to the Reid Method Insider, a podcast for emerging and established sales professionals or anyone seeking career advancement, inspiration, or business development. With personal development and high-level success strategies by sales coach, acclaimed speaker, and author of the Reid Method, Reid. Listen, practice, prosper.
Welcome to the Reid Method podcast. It's episode 41 as we dive into the sales mindset and what it takes or what it means to have a great sales mindset and how that affects your ultimate success in your career. In today's sales environment, consumers are driven and are so much more engaged and educated about products and services. It's all about understanding how consumers think today and not about how we as salespeople choose to sell. So we have to constantly adapt or we will fail. If you take, for example, the late Steve Jobs, one of the greatest salesmen of our time, a genius, a revolutionary, innovative, among many other attributes. He quickly figured out that effective selling was more about the consumers. It was more about A, becoming emotionally involved in the process. The consumers were more emotionally involved. B, the solutions that we offer. C, the problems that we help the consumers solve. And D, was less about how and what we chose to sell, and even less about the price. Take, for example, the iPhones. Millions, multi-millions of these devices are sold. If you look at the last quarter, or the first quarter rather, for the last 4 years, over 74 million on average is sold in just the first quarter alone, with an average worldwide sales of about 217 million mostly iPhones. And a lot of these devices are to the same people year after year who go back for the additional features and line up for hours all across the world just based on what the experience that these devices bring. So it's not about price as much. It's not about the product. A lot of it is about the experience. And I will explain to you how you develop the right mindset. And if you understand what it takes, fundamentally, you will have an ultimately successful sales career. So most people don't need a new iPhone every year. But here's a couple of questions you want to answer. In order to position ourselves towards exceeding our expectations, do these clients really need a new iPhone year after year? Absolutely not. So we have to answer a series of questions in order to position ourselves towards exceeding our expectations and therefore exceeding the customer's expectations, and ultimately how to become top sales super achievers this quarter, this year, and beyond. One of the questions that I think is fundamental that we answer more and more today as the consumer behavior is shifting is, do you care for or have a service heart to your consumers and your teammates? So do you have a service heart to who you work with, your company, and ultimately that resonates and shows with your consumers? I think that's very, very important today. So in order to establish the right mindset, you have to think about, even with the right expertise, the right abilities, your greater success or potential is not guaranteed unless it's aligned with a disciplined mindset. Having the right mindset rituals, I think, puts you in a prepared state, and it gives you a better chance to have or exceed your own expectations, and not just about surviving or getting by in your sales role. To excel in sales, it's essential to maintain some core principles. First is you have to remain open to learning and be a student of your career. Sales pros build careers. They don't build or maintain jobs. And second is to adapt best practices that you encounter along the way, either through formal training, mentorship, or simply observing others who are good at what they do. Making sure to gain more success through the effort of becoming more. And if any of you listen to Jim Rohn, you'll hear he mentions a lot about if you want to have more, you have to become more. And third is to create great, memorable purchase and service experiences. And what does that mean? Don't just try to make a sale. Make it an experience. Good deals are not enough to drive repeat and referral business. Great experiences do. And this is what you have to keep in mind. Build great, memorable experiences, and that will build long-term referral base and long-term repeat business. And the fourth, very important, is to add more value than anyone else. And you have to define what value is to you, what value means in your organization, in your product, in your process. Define your value proposition. What is that proposition, and how is it relevant in the whole experience? So we're going to touch on 8 key sales mindset principles to enjoy ultimate sales success. The first one is you have to choose a product or service that you absolutely love and appreciate. There's no point getting into a sales career or sales position if you don't absolutely love or are passionate about the product or service you offer. Because if you're not passionate about it, it's going to show. In chapter 1 of my book, The Reid Method, I talk about being passionate, appreciative, and confident in the product or service you represent. So it's vital to one's success. And the reason is they're buying you. They're not buying the product or service as much as they're buying you. So, and if you're not passionate, it's going to be an uphill battle. So you may already know, but we always need to be reminded that it's really about the experience and it's about us. So in the first point, which is choosing a product or service that you love and appreciate, we'll touch on 4 or 5 tips. A, top sales superachievers are highly enthusiastic about the value and the benefits they bring to their clients. Yes, they're enthusiastic about the product. Yes, they like the product, they like their facility, they like their coworkers, but most importantly is that they're highly enthusiastic about the value and the benefits they bring to their clients and remain engaged with them long after the sale. Take, for example, myself. I work with Lexus, and everyone knows that Lexus is an ultimately reliable premium brand. We sell that to an extent, but the fact that it's already known is not the one thing that we have to spend a whole bunch of time on, stressing reliability and durability. That is known. But more importantly, what I focus on is the benefit of the experience that comes with a reliable, durable vehicle. What does that bring to their lives? Yes, they know it's reliable and durable, but what does that actually mean? And it's the ability to define the experience that wins the sale and wins the long-term clients. So don't miss the opportunity to articulate the possibility of the experience. And Steve Jobs sold the experience. This is what the man would get up on stage all the time and do in front of the audience at his company and ultimately to the world. He sold the experience more than he sold the features. And he captured people's imagination into an experience. And that's very, very important. So that's the first point. B, it's very hard to sell anything that you don't really believe in because that emotion can slip through and will cost you deals. C, if you truly believe in a product or service, then more genuine emotion will flow from you to your prospective client, and that positive energy will actually help you sell. Because this is where it comes down to you. It's all about them buying into you. And D is you have to study the track record of your brand or your product, not just the options, the packages, that you need to present, but what are the strengths of those features or benefits, or what are the strengths, for example, of the Lexus product that I sell? Some models you have to focus more on the strength of what they are known for and not just the features. So it's very important to understand the track record of your product, the track record of your company, and the track record of your service, what actually that brings and means to the consumers. E is the company philosophy and structure. Company history is worth bragging about. If you have a long-standing company in your marketplace or in your country, it's important to know why that company is a long-standing successful company. And that is important because, again, the clients are buying you, they're buying the reputation, they're buying the philosophy and the structure of your organization. So it's very, very important to know what this means. Take, for example, again, with Lexus and Toyota, the Kaizen philosophy, the philosophy of continuous improvement. These are all things that are embedded in the philosophy and the success of the company. And many other companies, again, Apple, the promise and the products deliver, what it does for the consumers to engage and to give them these experiences, to deliver the experiences that they enjoy year after year with all the features of their iDevices. And then F is the final one. It's simply more fun to present a product that you can appreciate and back with confidence anyways. That's why the enthusiasm will resonate with your clients. If you love the product, you're passionate about it. You can't wait to tell the next client. You can't wait to share them, as I put it, the promise that it delivers, the problem it solves, your product or service solves, and the promise it delivers with the great experience that they will have. So that was the first point under choosing a product or service that you love. The next is commitment. Number 2 is commitment. You must jump in with both feet. In chapter 1 of my book, I talk about your commitment. Jumping in with both feet is how I put it. Giving it your all, the attention that your career deserves, and keep an open mind. So under commitment, A is learn as much as possible. Don't focus on just earning money. Focus on creating outstanding experiences. This is what I've been able to identify that I was doing better than most in my company, and why I was able to contribute these experiences that I share in a book and ultimately now in a podcast and in my workshops and my seminars that I deliver across North America and parts of the Caribbean. It's all about the experience. And I've been able to get some feedback from many clients, hundreds of clients all across our marketplace that I know have expressed how happy and satisfied or how much we exceeded their expectations, which is what led them to make the ultimate decision. The experience that they received is not what they expected, because the competition, folks, is not that great. The big differentiator is in the competition is really the commitment you show and ultimately what the experience you deliver. And then B is to aim to make it a career of serving others first and not just a job. Aim to make it a career, a sales career of serving and not just a job. The late Earl Nightingale will tell you your income will be in direct proportion to your contribution or the effort in delivering great service. And it took me forever just to extrapolate and to break this phrase apart, to understand deeply what it means. Your income will be in direct proportion to your contribution or service. Commit yourself to contributing more and you will earn more. That was B. C, as an employee or a business owner, you shouldn't only compare or compete based on what the position in your company or your competition brings to the marketplace. You have to compete ultimately by the value you bring to your organization or to the marketplace. So again, based on experience, I'm sharing this with you. I don't compete with the other colleagues that I work with. I compete with myself. My goals are much higher and I focus on those. I don't focus my goals or targets based on what other salespeople do. And if you study Michael Jordan, you will know that Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, all these elite, cleaner athletes, according to the book by Tim Grover, Relentless, these athletes don't compete with their teammates. Their levels are way too high, and their standards are so high that they only compete to make themselves better. And D, you have to rephrase the conversation and perspective about the value contribution your role is making. So as a salesperson, whether you're an inside salesperson, outside salesperson, what is the perspective of the value contribution that you bring to the role? Do you bring new ideas to your company? Do you bring ideas to improve yourself? Even if there are multiple salespeople in your role, what do you need to do to become? What do you need to change? What do you need to do or to adapt to be more valuable, even more than they are, and to earn more? Or take it from Jim Rohn again. You have to master the trainer of trainers. You have to become that top guy, regardless of what everybody else is doing. Don't pay attention to the competition. Pay attention to what you can do. Focus on you, ultimately, to become the best. Number 3, as we touch on 8 core principles of establishing perfect or a great mindset for ultimate sales success. Number 3 is personal development. This is something I wish I had adapted years ago. Ever since I started listening to tapes, listening to, audio on my way to work. Take, for example, the book As a Man Thinketh. That book on audio is only an hour and a half. I can read that book every single day, and every time I read it, I learn something new. Even though the book is one of the shortest books written back in 1902, it is one of the best books you'll ever read. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Pick up that book and read it. That is all about the mind and man and how your mind affects what you do. So you want to definitely pick that book up if you haven't read it before. And if you've read it already 2-3 times, read it again, because I guarantee you'll pick up a new tip. So number 3 is personal development. It is a must. So if you just listen to some of the most successful people in the world, Warren Buffett, if you ever ask him, what's the best investment you can make? He says it's in yourself. Ultimately, if you know this man's routine, he's in his office for his 8 hours a day, and he literally reading 5 to 6 hours every single day. And this guy's worth something like $80-something billion. He's constantly working on improving himself. He's also over 80 years old. And this is what he does. He keeps learning and improving himself. Richard Branson, Tony Robbins, all these ultimately successful business people will tell you that this is one discipline that you should adapt, because it will lead you to so many opportunities. It will open so many doors for you. So investing in yourself and effective, useful training is crucial to ultimate sales success. Again, Warren Buffett states that the most successful investment you can make is in yourself. And one of my favorites, again, Jim Rohn, refers to personal development as the way to increasing your value to the marketplace. So there you have it in many ways. Any way you want to take it from anyone, it really comes down to the same thing. You got to invest in yourself constantly.
You're listening to the Reid Method Insider.
So here's a question. What have you done lately to improve or to increase your value to the marketplace? What fundamentals and daily rituals are you practicing? You could take, for example, just 30 to 60 minutes a day. The average person will probably commute 20 to 30 minutes to work. Again, if you take the one book, for example, As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, it's done in an hour and a half. You could literally read through most of that book, if not all of it, on the way to and from work. If you download it on Audible, it's $6, sometimes even less. And the knowledge and the type of mindset and the expertise and just the depth of teaching that this one book will bring you is just unbelievable. And this is something you're doing in net time, no extra time. You're driving to work anyways, listening to some other nonsense. You definitely don't want to be listening to the news because that's not going to do you any good. But why not improve? Why not continuously learn? Choose something, choose a subject that you're passionate about. You can listen to podcasts. You can listen to this. You can download stuff from all the different websites. There's YouTube. There's a million podcasts now on every subject, every discipline, anything you want to learn. There's a show for it. So there's really no excuse. And this you can all do in no extra time. B is learn more about the people and more about your business. Learn more about people and more about business. Not just about the sales tactics or phony sales lines. Here's a phrase that I recently learned, and you will actually learn this if you read the book again, As a Man Thinketh. Here's one thing the line that resonated with me. He said, men are anxious to change their circumstances but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. Men and women are anxious to change their circumstances but are unwilling to improve themselves. They therefore remain bound. That's by James Allen in the book As a Man Thinketh. C. Personal development should be a lifelong process. It's not just do it for a week. It's not just do it for a month. Like I said, Warren Buffett is 80 plus years old. He's worth, almost $100 billion with, as you know, multiple multi-million dollar companies. And it's been a lifelong process for him, personal development. He constantly is improving his skills and learning more about these companies. Personal development, folks, it's a way to access existing skills that you don't even know you have. You have skills. You have great talent within you. This is what reading, listening, studying brings out. It identifies those skills that you already possess, the qualifications and the qualities that you have that you're not utilizing. So dive in and learn more about your real capabilities, because every one of us is capable of so much more. And D is to identify your self-actualization, which is the ability of reaching your full potential by becoming everything you're capable of becoming in customer skills, in yourself, in team management, in communication, in sales, in follow-up skills. Sales effectiveness is about relationship building, relationship strategies, and many other skills that you will learn simply by investing more in yourself. Again, there's so many personal development tools that no one should have any excuses. YouTube, books, podcasts, audiobooks, seminars, workshops, online courses, listening in your car, listening at the gym, jogging, walking, shopping. Okay, so there you go, folks. There's no more excuses. Number 4 is value. I love this one. What does it mean? You should always compete by adding more value than anyone else. And what does value mean? Value is not just about the cheapest price, the lower price, throwing in more stuff, giving away the farm. Value, the biggest part of the value proposition is in you, what you deliver, what you bring as part of the transaction. Are you the trusted one? Are you the go-to person? Are you the one that they can count on for analysis, for feedback, for demonstration, for presentation? If there's a problem, are you the one that they'll refer their friends, their family, their kids to? Then you know, if people are calling you and referring you all the time, referring you other clients and asking you questions, you're that go-to person they like. You're bringing more value. You're more valuable to them. They don't call anybody else. They call you. And that's how, when you know you're more valuable. So you need to compete under number 4, which is value, add more value than anyone else. A is you need to compete based on the ultimate value of the experience that you create, not just the price. Again, if you go back to the iPhone example, what's the average price of one of these devices? It's about $1,000. And how many do they sell again? About 217 million annually over the last 4 years. So that you have to ask the question, why? They're expensive. Not everyone can afford one, but people who even can afford it buy them by the millions. And they do so because of the perceived value that the device brings. So Steve Jobs would present these products on stage, and the rest of the world would do what? They would line up the next day to be ultimately the first ones to receive the product, because they want the experience of the new product. And in the first day, they would sell 2 to 3 million alone. In the first day. All because of the experience and the promise it delivers. And B, your company should compete based on value proposition, not by the pain it relieves or the need you fulfill, but the various promises that it delivers. So clients walk in today into my showroom, for example. They've had an accident. The car is breaking down. They need another car. Family's growing. Whatever the circumstances is, that's a problem. That's a problem they're looking to solve. But what I do is try to deliver on the promises of getting the new car, what problems it solves, and what the promise that the new product delivers. So that's how you want to focus your commitment and build value at the same time. So you need to do a better job articulating your value proposition and the values in the product, the values in the service, the values in you. C is people don't know what they really want sometimes until you show them. So you need to be better at your craft. You need to understand your product better so that you can, when you listen to your clients and prospects, you can identify key opportunities of value that you can say, here, let me show you this. Here's how this helps you. Here's the problem this solves. Here's the promise that this delivers. So the value proposition, understanding and articulating what your company or your product can deliver. Great salespeople, folks, they're evangelists to consumers. You're evangelizing your product, your service, and they master great presentations. D, your presentation is not just about the product or the facility. Your presentation and proposition is in you. So keep that in mind first and foremost. And E, what about value is in your process? Do you understand? What about value is in your process? Do you listen? Do you simplify? Do you cut to the chase? Do you deliver value? Do you keep the client's time in mind? Because people are busy. And the person that can deliver answers and deliver solutions, valuable solutions in a short time, that's value. You're saving people time. So that's very, very important, is to understand what is important to the client. And for those of you who listen to Tony Robbins, here's something on the value proposition. If you add the value to the client, you will become the brand. Find a way to add more value than anyone else. If you add more value, you will become the brand, because they're coming to you. They're not coming to the building. They're coming to the person that's helping them out. And that's so vital in today's fast-paced moving environment. And number 5 is goals. Goal setting forms the basis for success. You have to plan to accomplish the goals. What's the point of getting up and going into work if you don't have goals? If you have no idea of what your goals are for that day, that week, how many people you're going to call? How many people should you follow up? How many propositions should you send? Proposals? How many vehicles or how many products or how many homes you're looking to sell this month, next month, for the year? This is important. or else there's no point even leaving your house. You have to have these goals realized and set and prioritized the night before. Is typically when most top super achievers set goals, is they write these things down the night before. So for goals to be realized, they must be realistic, they must be implementable, measurable, and flexible. And you have to re-energize yourself about setting bigger goals and having bigger results. What's realistic for one person may not be realistic for the other. But over time, bigger goals can be achieved by anyone if you work at it. So let's talk about some criteria for goal setting. Goal setting, you need to have these specific goals. You must be able to answer what you specifically are trying to accomplish by setting these goals. Is it an income level? Is it the amount of sold homes? Is it the amount of deliveries in vehicles? Is it the amount of service work orders? Is it the amount of calls you make? And why is this goal important to you? If you have these goals, you have to understand or know why it's important to you, because if it's not important to you, you won't be able to follow through. Next, they need to be measurable. Your success plan should be short, simple, and to the point, and should start with a sales forecast or a sales target. Then you need to create a detailed breakdown, whether it be by numbers, monthly, weekly, daily, the amount of products, whether it be annual income, monthly income. You need to break it down so that you know, okay, how many calls I need to make today, how many people I need to see today, how many deals I need to close today, how many proposals I need to get out today or this week in order to get the feedback or get the sales in. That's how you measure goals.
You're listening to the Reid Method Insider.
I have income goals that I set, and it's broken down. I even have my annual forecast for my personal income based on how many vehicles I sell, how many courses I teach, and the monthly income I get, and it gives me my average and my projection for the year. So I have an idea of where I'm tracking at all times. C, your goals must be relevant or realistic. If your goal isn't realistic and they mean much to you, you won't truly accomplish them. Do you truly have the capability of achieving these goals that you set? So it's important enough, if it's important enough to you, that you will realize and dedicate the effort required. So if you were selling only one home, well, the average sales realtor, 3 to 4 homes a year. But if you want to be one of the top 20%, you won't get there overnight. You'll have to set out a plan, and you'll have to go from 3 to 10 to 20 to 30, and eventually now you're doing 3 a month instead of 3 to 4 a year. So there's a process involved, and so that's why it has to be realistic, implementable, measurable, and you have to be committed to it and take it step by step. And the realization in your success plan, you will identify in the progress that you're making, because the success lies in the progress. The progress is what pulls you through to the end, to ultimately the bigger goal. And D is the timeline. To be successful, every goal setting plan must include a detailed timeline of each target that you're setting forth. So again, how many this week, how many next month, whatever. You get the picture. Your sales plan and timeline should be at your fingertips at all times. My sales plan is right on my desktop on a spreadsheet. My Excel spreadsheet that I started out with is now 6.5 years old, and every month is in the bottom tab for the last 6.5 years. And here's another thing about goal setting. When I started setting my goals on just a 4-column spreadsheet on Excel, I had no clue how to work the formulas or how to set up the formulas on an Excel spreadsheet. Today, I master that. I've got formulas all over the page. I've got a huge sheet that looks like I'm running a multi-million-dollar business that identifies everything that I'm doing. And the point there is, if you start with the basic and if you remain consistent, you will improve, you will learn, and you will become a master at it. No different than any skill, than any goal. It will just naturally evolve because every month you think of something different. You create an average, you create a formula to track it. You learn. So that's goal setting. And number 6 is follow-up. So this is where a lot of salespeople fail, is in the follow-up process. You can read books just on follow-up. You can see statistics on Google and all over the place just on follow-up, because the average salesperson quits after the second time, and most don't even follow up in the first place. So following up after the initial meeting or call is a crucial practice that most salespeople miss. Even after they've established next steps, many sales are lost right here because the average salesperson does not follow up effectively. They don't even know what to say when they follow up. And that's where they lose the clients. They'll ask silly questions like, have you made a decision yet? And you're just asking for a no by asking such a dumb question. So every work day, you must have an action plan and strategy to guide you through the day towards these follow-up goals. Most salespeople react to the traffic, sales calls, or leads. They don't execute a follow-up plan. They just react on whoever calls or whoever shows up. But they don't actually have a plan to follow up the people that they've already spent time with, therefore creating a more consistent funnel. So how many calls and emails are you going to send out today? Do you have that plan? Under the follow-up section, which is number 6, A is how many calls and emails will you make by the end of the day, this week, this month? When you do these calls and emails, what's the timeline that's most effective? You have to gauge the times that's more important. Don't be calling people at dinner time. They don't like it. That's going to, frankly, annoy anybody. So choose a time, or research the times, or ask for the time that's best to follow up. When you're meeting and engaging with these clients, a great question to ask is, what's a better time to follow up with you? Is it after 7? Is it during the day? Is it on your lunch hour, etc.? So you've established this. There's an open line of communication. When will you contact or follow up? When would this be, today or tomorrow? So you have a list. Who will you call today? Who will you follow up with tomorrow? There's always a constant flow. And without this plan, you simply can't start to make progress. So this becomes part of your strategy. You have to have files and folders and lists so you can segment the priority of your clients. This is what follow-up is about. It's not just as basic as who you remember to call that day. There's lists, there's files, there's folders, there's emails, there's a whole strategy to follow up. Okay? And you don't stop until they buy. You don't stop until they've bought something. So you never stop following up after the second because a client or a prospect hasn't made a decision. You always keep going, but progressively. You don't want to annoy them. So when you follow up with clients, you always have to progress the conversation. Is there something new that's of benefit? Is there something better? Is there a new product? Is there a new service? Is there a new way of acquiring the product or service that works better for them that you want to inform them about? And that's what follow-up is. It's not just about have you made a decision. It's about here's something new. Follow-up could be as simple as sending a link to some new features and benefits. That's follow-up. And then you send an email or a phone call and said, hey, what did you think about the article I sent you? And that's how you engage people, because you're thinking about them. They realize that you haven't forgotten. And you're thinking about them, and that's vital. So, number 7. Here we go. We're almost at the end of 8 principles of a successful sales mindset. Number 7 is you gotta shut up and listen, folks. A lot of salespeople talk their way out of a deal. And as I wrote in my book, you're better off listening your way into a sale than talking your way out of one. So be a good listener. It's a vital skill to develop in your quest for sales success. Listen carefully to understand your potential client's needs and wants, then convey feedback. That's how top performers close more deals and make higher incomes. They listen, craft a plan, and then convey constructive feedback. They master the art of the conversation. This is point number A under listening. Mastering the art of the conversation by listening intently to the client's needs, desires, emotions, and better prepared in crafting a resolution or a response. B, there's a crucial stage. Once you're past the greeting stage with any client and are engaged with your client, whether it be at a showroom, in your office, at a desk, or out in the field, then it's time to practice the most important discipline. Take notes, ask questions, and shut up and listen. C, this is where you begin to win clients. After you've listened, you begin to win the client's trust right here by listening carefully to their needs. And when they see you making notes and asking questions and reconfirming or re-verifying what they meant, this gives you credibility because they say, yeah, this guy is listening to me. He's writing down all my important requirements. He's taking valuable notes. He's understanding what my needs are. Therefore, he'll be able to craft a better plan. So you're investing the proper time. So listening is crucial. Listening, folks, is where the clues are to the sale, because it's usually found in the feedback that you get from the clients. And then the last one is E. Give your full attention and listen to your clients. Don't be distracted by cell phones going off all over the place, gadgets going off. Give your clients the full attention that they require, that they deserve. That's how you listen effectively and attentively and respectfully. That's building value. The one that's listening, taking notes, getting feedback, engaging with the clients, understanding what they really want, is the one that's more likely to win the sale because you're building value along the way. And the final step in the principles for having this ultimate sales mindset, this winning sales mindset, is 8, action. There's no point doing all of this if you can't ask for the deal. You have to take action. You have to act by showing value. You have to act by doing a proper presentation and a demonstration. You have to act by doing the follow-up. You have to act by being committed. You have to act by engaging in personal development. And you have to act in delivering to your consumers. The delivery is where it's at. So you've done all these great things, as we've covered in this episode 41 of the Reid Method podcast. We've actually been covering the depth of the sales mindset, what it actually means to have a great sales mindset in order to enjoy ultimate sales success. And number 1, we covered first choosing a product or service that you love and appreciate. Number 2, we covered commitment. You have to be all in because clients this will resonate with clients. They'll know if you're not fully committed. Number 3, we definitely personal development. You have to be committed and invest in yourself daily, constantly. Have a constant growth mindset. Okay? 4 is add more value than anyone else. As Tony Robbins says, if you add more value, you'll become the brand. People will want to trust you. They'll follow you wherever you go. Number 5 is goals. What are your goals? Do you even have goals? Are they written down somewhere? They should be right, accessible to you instantly. Income goals, sales goals, whatever criteria, they should be accessible and it should be implementable, measurable, etc. Number 6 is follow-up. This is where most sales are lost. Salespeople don't have the mentality or the strategy of proper follow-up. They don't know what to say. They make one follow-up call and they're done because the first question is, hi, it's so-and-so calling, have you made a decision? And you're going to get a no. That's not the way to do follow-up. And number 7 is action. No, number 7 was shut up and listen. This is very important. Listening is where the clues are to the sale. It's vital. Listen, take notes, show the clients that you're attentive, ask valuable, what I call high value questions, because the clues to the sale is in the information that you get from the clients. And yes, the final one, number 8, is action. None of this is worth anything unless you take action. Action, action. Action in the commitment, action in personal development, action in listening, action in commitment, action in choosing a product or service that you love and appreciate, action in goals, and action in action. So there you go, folks. It's been a pleasure delivering this episode to you, the Reid Method Insider Podcast, episode 41 on 8 success mindset principles, sales mindset principles that will ultimately deliver you sales success in this 2018, this quarter, this year, and beyond. So stay tuned for additional episodes coming up as we dive into more personal development, we dive into more sales strategies, tactics. We'll be having a lot of guests on upcoming from Silicon Valley, a lot of major startup companies, and a lot of thought leaders who can bring us so much great insight on so many different disciplines that will be valuable for you to improve your sales career, your business profession, your bottom line profit, improving yourselves. So I thank you very much for listening to the Reid Method Podcast. It's episode 41. And stay tuned. By the way, we are on TuneIn right now. You can listen to us on 5 major platforms: TuneIn, SoundCloud as usual, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, and many other places. But I just wanted to point out that we are also now on TuneIn, and along with all the other platforms. So any feedback, send it to me at insider@thereidmethod.com. That's insider@thereidmethod.com. And you can pick up the Reid Method book on Amazon, all over the place. Indigo chapters. The ebook is on sale for a limited time. So check that out if you're more into reading ebooks. And you can pick up the hard copy, and stay tuned. We're working on an audio copy of the book as well that will be released in the not too distant future. I'll let you know when that's ready. So thank you very much, and until next time, take care.
For more information, please visit us on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, or www.thereidmethod.com.